is not related to GRC.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, I'm asking, means what might they ask in interviews?
So, see, the questions that they would ask is completely firstly dependent on the job role, right? So even in GRC, there are multiple job roles. There are job roles that are only specific for implementation. There are job roles only specific for doing risk assessments. There are only job roles only specific for auditing. Because if you ask me, when you go to very big organizations, they have a dedicated risk vertical. So their job is to only perform risk assessments. Then there is a separate vertical or team who only does internal audits, right? So that completely depends on the job role. But however, for your entire GRC on a whole, right? So the expectation is that you should be having the basic understanding of the GRC domain. That is, you should have understanding on various standards, especially ISO 27001. Then also your SOC 2 framework, your PCI DSS, NIST, right? So then you have multiple other risk management frameworks. You have ISO 31000 NIST risk management framework, right? So these are the minimum prerequisites that any GRC role will demand. So they can ask you a wide range of questions, starting from asking you how do you decide on a scope, or what are the parameters that you are considering for any ISO certification. Then how are you actually performing risk assessment? They might ask a specific topic within a risk assessment. Like they can ask you questions like explain me what is risk treatment, what is a residual risk, what is risk appetite, right? So it can be a wide range of questions.
Okay, Niranjan. Yeah, thank you.
No issues. Yes, Viresh, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi Niranjan.
Hi, Viresh.
I was studying this business continuity risk assessment, and
Mhm.
as we studied in the course also, so I was having doubt that is the both assessment are same, or there is any perspective change or any kind of methodology change which we need to consider.
No, the risk assessment on a whole is same. There is no specific risk assessment done for your BIA. The risk assessment that you do, right, infosec, that should be so comprehensive that it is covering all three triads: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So this risk assessment is used as an input for your BIA, because in risk assessment, we'll be understanding what is the impact, right? What is the actual threat? What is the actual vulnerability? And if at all this risk is bound to happen, what will be the impact to my information and information systems? Right. And we'll also know what are the controls that are in place. So this will be an input to our business impact analysis. So there's no specific another risk assessment that we do.
Okay. So just the main crux remains the same, but in case of business continuity, we only focus on the business continuity aspect, right?
Correct. Absolutely. So there, business impact analysis, as the name says. So we are trying to understand what is going to be impact to my business if at all a particular system or a process is not available. Say a simple example could be, there can be a production server. Okay. So if at all that production server is not running, if at all it is not working, or you are unable to access it, so what will be my impact?
27,001 risk assessment.
It can be due to n number of reasons. It can be due to someone hacked into it, somebody changed your password, or there is some physical damage to the server. The reason might be there might be n number of reasons. But at the end of the day, what is the impact that I'm going to have if at all that asset is down? That is what the whole objective of business impact analysis. Then after that, we'll understand, okay, now the asset is down, we got to know how soon do we have to recover this asset, what is the minimum time frame within which I need to recover that asset back, restore the asset back. That means here we are calculating RTO, which is nothing but recovery time objective. which will help us to decide what is the maximum amount of downtime that we are okay to agree upon. And then along with this, we should also calculate something called as RPO, recovery point objective. See, just by restoring the system is not enough. We should also restore all of its configurations, all of its functionality, all of its backend data, right? So this data, what is the amount of data that we want to restore is decided by RPO. So again, how much data loss is okay for us is what we decide based on RPO. So the more stringent, that is the more stringent your RTO and RPO, the more complex and more costlier your controls are going to be.
Okay, okay. And like when we decide while this calculating impact or calculating likelihood, when we are deciding, so the criteria which we decide, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable, or this is minor, major, or catastrophic. So who does this decide, or how we come to that conclusion that this is
Are you
acceptable or
talking
this is
about
not?
the impact?
Yeah, impact or impact. Yeah.
Yeah, so this business impact analysis is done with the stakeholders. Say you are the owner of the production server. So I am doing the business impact analysis. So I come to you, I sit with you and understand. I'll explain you what is the objective of the activity. Then I will ask you, because you are the owner, you are the best person within the organization. I will ask you and I will explain, okay, if at all the asset is down due to XYZ reasons, what will be the impact to your process? What will be the impact to the organization? Then it is the business owner only who will be deciding what is the maximum downtime that he is okay to agree, or what is the amount of data that they are okay to lose. So it's all decided by the, decided with the business owner. However, just like how we develop a risk assessment methodology, right? So we'll also develop a business impact assessment methodology where we clearly categorize. So if at all the impact is so and so, that is 10 processes are affected. We have a impact of 10,000 rupees. We have 50 customers affected, right? Then 6 systems are affected due to this. So you can clearly mention that and tell this constitutes a low impact for me. So and so downtime, so and so customers affected, so and so monetary loss is going to be a medium impact, high impact. So that we need to decide as part of the methodology, so that everybody follows one single methodology within the organization.
Okay, okay. And like in case of like in ISMS, we mostly follow like asset-based risk assessment. So here, is there any methodology which is preferred, or like whichever is okay? Like how we will decide this methodology in the business continuity?
So that is what, there is no asset based or something as part of business impact analysis, right? So here your assets are only going to get compromised. If at all your assets are compromised, then your associated processes will start getting compromised, right? So here how we usually do a business impact analysis is, first we will understand, or first we will try to identify what are those critical processes within the organization or the teams, right? So you'll have IT team, you'll have engineering team, you'll have DevOps team, right? Then we sit with them, we'll understand what are the various processes that those team members have, right? Then with that process, we'll understand what are the assets that are involved within a particular process. Then we try and understand, okay, for all, for this process, for a development as a process, there might be a development server, there might be test server, there would be your source code analysis tools, right? So there will be multiple, there will be CI/CD pipeline, there will be your GitHub repo, right? So there will be multiple assets. So we'll pick up each and every asset and we'll discuss with the stakeholder asking, okay, what if your development server is down? What will be the impact to the organization? If at all the GitHub repository is down, it is not accessible, what is going to be the impact? So like that, we will sit and do a business impact analysis with the stakeholders.
Okay, okay, okay. Thanks, Niranjan. Thanks.
No issues. Good. Next, whoever has a question, you can get started. Okay, I see there is one message in the chat, Bhavya. Okay, could you please elaborate about ISO implementation from starting to end? What needs to be done and how? Okay. So it is not only specific to your ISO. This is a generic methodology or a generic timeline for any of the audit. So the first and foremost activity is to decide on the scope of the audit. It can be an internal audit, it can be an external audit, it can be even a gap assessment, any kind of an audit or an assessment. First, we have to decide on the scope. And how does this scope come into picture? So usually it is the top management of the organization that is going to decide on the scope, because ISO is not a mandatory certification. Majority of the organizations choose for ISO or any other certifications in order to expand their business. So what are those processes or what are those functions that is giving business to the organization? Those businesses or those processes will be decided as scope. For example, if you are a product organization, so your products will be in scope, thereby the teams that are developing these products will automatically fall in the scope. So it might be so once you decide this main scope, then we need to identify what are the interfaces or the dependencies. So interfaces are those departments that will help the main in-scope departments to function properly. So per se, if at all we have a product development team or a development or engineering team as a main scope department, in order for this product development team or engineering team to carry out their day-to-day operations, we'll have multiple interfacing departments, starting from your HR team, then your physical security team, then your IT team, the DevOps team who manages the infra, then the legal team, your infosec team, the GRC and compliance team, then the finance team. Like this, there are multiple dependencies. So we have to sit and understand what are these what are these interfacing departments. And there could also be a dependency. Say your entire infra is hosted on cloud, right? So this entire cloud environment will be your dependency. That is your cloud service provider. It's your biggest dependency because your entire infra is hosted there. Or what if there is only applications are developed in-house, but your production environment is on cloud? So that's again a dependency for you. So like this, we have to identify what are the main in-scope departments, your interfaces and dependencies that will collectively form our scope. Once we do the scoping, we do something called as a gap assessment. So gap assessment is very simple. It is a process for us to understand where are we exactly standing as on date against the requirements of the standard. So what is our current posture or a current level when it comes to the best practices that the standard is asking us to do? So you do a gap assessment, you get to know what are going good, what needs to be improved, what needs to be completely changed. Then you take actions against each of those gaps and start remediating them. Then you also perform something called as risk assessment in order to identify the risks for compromise of confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the information. And once you do that, once all the risks are treated, all the gaps are closed, we go for an internal audit. Then in ISO specifically, we need to also do a management review meeting. And once we do all this, we are good to go for the external audit. So this is how a typical life cycle of an audit looks like.
So hi Niranjan, this is Prateek.
Hi,
So I
Prateek.
would like to know, I mean, you just mentioned that we need to have the scoping document first, correct? We need to complete the scoping first. So I mean, if I can add to this, like plus scoping plus then context of the organization and then ISMS objective. I think prior to the gap assessment, these documents we should have because so that we should like I mean the output of these I mean, so that we can start the gap assessment and with other processes. So correct me if I'm wrong.
So your context of the organization, what do you mean by context of the organization?
basically the context.
Hmm.
I mean, in scoping document, what we do, we set the boundaries, what all the functions and the departments are
Yes.
we are going to cover as per the ISMS of I mean the planning. So that's all. I mean, the context of the organization, maybe the internal parties, external parties involvement, their issues, whatever the risk the external parties are having, the internal
That is
parties
as per, that is
are
you're
having.
telling
So that
clause
we
4.1,
yes
4.2, issue management and needs and expectations.
exactly
Before that is
exactly
the
exactly.
theoretical way that the standard is telling, but in real life, that will not work. So in real life, setting the context of the organization or understanding the context of the organization is nothing but understanding the processes of the organization. So if at all you want to either implement or audit, right, you need to have certain basic understanding of the organization and its process. In terms of, firstly, you'll have to understand what exactly is the organization doing. Is it providing services? It is selling products? If at all it is giving, I mean, either of them, any organization will do. So what are the geographical locations that the organization is catering to? What are the geographical locations that the organization is actually present in? Who are the customers of the organization? So like this basic understanding we should have before even we go further. And in reality, we don't understand first the issues, the needs and expectations, and then do the scoping. No, that will be practically impossible in real life. So first we establish the scope, and then for all the, once you set up the boundary, within that boundary, you start identifying the issues. You start identifying the interested parties. What are their needs? What are their expectations? You perform risk assessment. So that's how you do.
Okay. My second question is, I have a customer and they are having the external audit to be scheduled in November month. Okay. So they have set up the stage 1 audit in November, and they have taken time, 3 months of time to perform, to go with the external audit in the month of, I would say, January, for example. Okay. So in November month, stage 1 here. So I'm the external body. I mean, I'm taking care of their internal audit, and overall, I'm preparing them so that they can face the external audit and they can get the certification. So, do I need to complete the all phases of the audit, like including the implementation phase, the auditing phase? I mean, performing a gap assessment, and then the gap assessment is a part of the implementation, and then performing the internal audit, finding all the gaps, and releasing a report highlighting all the gaps, and then remediating all the gaps, all the observations.
So, are you asking that before you go for an external audit, you need to finish all these aspects? Is that what you are
Is it
asking,
mandatory?
Pratik?
Because we don't. Sorry, I'm sorry, come again.
No, Pratik, your voice is breaking. What I am trying to understand is, are you asking me that you as an organization, are you asking that do you need to complete the scoping, gap assessment, risk assessment, internal audit, everything before going for external audit? What was your question?
Yeah, before going for a stage 1 audit, do I need to complete the internal audit? Because to perform an internal audit, it takes more time completed. Taking the evidences, because it takes more time, and there are many challenges to get all those evidences. So what I can do, correct me if I'm wrong. If I can go with the stage 1 audit and get ready to the client with all the 4 to 8 clauses, and then 9 to 10 we have enough time so that for the internal audit. So is it okay if we can go like this? Because
you can't do that. You can only stage 1 audit, stage 2 audit. Both the audits are part of your external audits, right? So what is the ultimate
the
objective of
external
stage
audit
1
stage 1
audit?
and stage 2.
Sorry.
I mean, the external auditor has given us more time to the client to perform the stage 2 audit. So there is
that is
no
fine.
use of that time.
What I'm trying to say is, so your stage 1 audit and stage 2 audit, Like the audit will be split into two
Mhm.
stages only during your initial certification of ISO 27001. Okay.
Exactly.
So in stage one audit, all that the auditors will be doing is document review. So you'll have to present to the auditors
Okay.
all the documentations that you have, all the mandatory documents, policies, procedures, your registers, everything you need to present. If you are telling that you are not performing the internal audit,
Exactly.
right? In that case, you'll not be able to share your
Mhm.
internal audit report. You'll not be able to share your CAPA sheet, corrective action register. So that will
suppose
be a gap from your stage one audit. Usually the
yes,
auditors would not
okay.
allow
So
it.
if I
Why? Because
okay.
only in internal audit, we will get to know whether the processes are actually being followed as per the policies, as per the procedures, as per the requirements of the standard or not. Right? So you as an organization will get a confirmation or confidence that your processes are fine only if you face an internal audit. Without that, without that, going into external audit would be not a wise decision, and usually auditors will also not allow. Because say
Okay.
they allow you, okay, in stage one you finished, you submitted all the documents except your internal audit report and your corrective action register. Okay, now you say that okay, now you'll be like, okay, stage one is there, stage two will also be there, you'll do a normal internal audit. It's not a thorough audit. Now what if there are very, very, very big gaps in your external audit, stage two audit? It's going to be a nightmare.
Exactly.
So
Okay,
usually auditors will not allow for stage one audit without your internal audit being performed.
Okay, got it. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
No issues. Yes. Next question, please.
Niranjan, hi, Vishnu Priya here.
Yes, hi Vishnu.
Hi, Niranjan. So once we have defined the in scope, no, you said about the interface and dependencies. Can you state an example for that in case of a product company?
So for a product company, so say your product ABC product, okay. So the team who is developing the product will be the main scope, right? Then your QA team will be the main scope.
Yeah.
These two could be the usual scope, again, depending on the naming conventions of the organization. I'm keeping it very simple. One team is developing, one team is testing. Okay.
Yes.
And you can also have your team who is pushing the code, managing the production. Okay. That will be also main scope department, these three. Now, and we can consider that as your team C. You can name it whatever internally. Now, for these three teams to perform, there needs to be some dependency, right? There needs to be some departments who help them to carry out their day-to-day process. For example, your IT or the DevOps team are the ones who will handle the infra on which your applications are hosted, on which your codes are developed, etc. So this will be one interfacing department. Your HR will be interfacing. Physical security or admin will be an interfacing department. Our team in compliance or GRC team is also an interfacing department. Legal, finance, right? All these would be your interfacing departments. So interfacing team departments are those that will help the main in-scope departments to carry out their day-to-day operations.
Got it. Okay.
No issues.
Thanks, Niranjan.
You're welcome. Yes, guys. Next question.
Hi, Pratik here.
Hey, hi.
One more question I have related to the annexure controls.
Okay.
So we have now 2022 version.
Correct.
Okay. There are 93 controls in that. So, 93 controls, these are not the mandatory controls, correct?
Correct.
Mandatory controls are there, which is there in the mentioned in the clauses.
Clauses are not your controls.
Yeah, these are the clauses I'm talking about. These are the mandatory documents, I would say. Correct?
Okay.
So I'm just confirming if I'm wrong, if I'm
Okay,
correct.
you are confirming. Okay, let me explain. So,
Yeah.
as you rightly mentioned, the clauses starting from 4 till 10 are mandatory. So clause 0, 1, 2, and 3 are non-operational clause, because these clauses talk more about the standard itself. They explain
Yes.
the applicability of the standard. They explain what is ISMS. They explain you the terms and definitions and reference. Those are all just for our understanding purposes. The actual clause starts from 4 till 10. These 8 clauses are arranged in a PDCA cycle, plan, do, check, act model. Okay. Now, when it comes to annexure A, as you rightly mentioned, there are 93 controls arranged in 4 different domains. And absolutely right, not all 93 controls are mandatory. So how do we decide whether control is mandatory or not mandatory is by doing a risk assessment. So when you do a risk assessment, you identify a particular risk. In order to mitigate or treat a particular risk, you need to implement a control. That control is where you pick from annexure A. It is not mandatory that you have to take controls from annexure A only. You can take controls from NIST, you can take controls from SOC 2, you can take controls from PCI DSS, any other standard. ISO is not objecting you. But at the end of the day, we need to develop something called as SOA, Statement of Applicability. This document will have the list of all the controls that are applicable to the organization, along with the status of why exactly is the control applicable or not applicable, the reason basically, what is the current implementation status, whether it is implemented, it is planned, it is not planned at all, so on. So from SOA, or basically in the SOA, you will mention what controls are applicable and what controls are not applicable to you as an organization.
Okay, with the justification.
Yes, absolutely. Justification should be provided.
Okay. Okay, so suppose if I'm asking to the stakeholder, like I need this evidence relevant to this control. Okay, so if they are saying like we do have a policy in place, but we do not have any document, any process document, any procedure document in place. So do I need to pass that control, or do I ask them to? Yeah.
Because your policy is a governing document which states what needs to be done for a particular operation or a particular process. Your SOP or the procedure is the document that will have step-by-step guidelines as to how exactly is the process executed. Yes. So even if you do not have a policy or a procedure, both will become a finding.
Okay, got it.
So you need to raise that as a minor non-compliance and give a timeline to the stakeholders to develop the SOP. And we need to ensure that the process is in line with the SOP and the SOP is in line with the process. Again, there should be no gap in that.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Excuse me, can you repeat once again that 4 to 10 classes are mandatory, and then classes we need to pick any classes?
No. Your clause 4 to 10 of the ISO standard are mandatory. Controls, your annexure A controls are not mandatory. The controls, you will get to know what is needed, what is not needed only after doing a thorough risk assessment. But it's, yeah, at the same time, we can't say that, okay, access control is not applicable to me. No, that's going to be a major non-compliance, because for every organization, access control will be applicable, irrespective of the process that they are following, right? So we have to do a thorough risk assessment, and we need to check, okay, what are those controls that are applicable to us? What are the controls that are not applicable to us? And then select the controls and document them in the document called as Statement of Applicability, or SOA.
Okay. Can you give one example?
For non-mandatory controller?
Oh, yes, whatever it is. Just for
So
understanding.
for example, say you are in scope, right? Your scope is only a certain service that you are providing, say customer service. Okay. So in this case, there is no development activities in place. It's a mere customer, like a call center that you are running. So there is no development activities. So your entire controls of SDLC will not come into picture, though all those secure development lifecycle controls will be not applicable. And say there is a dedicated control for cloud security. If at all of your infra is hosted on-prem, there is no cloud environment, then again the cloud security control will be not applicable because you do not have a process around it.
So that will be after risk assessment only we need to consider.
Yes, yes.
After risk assessment, we need to consider what are all the controls is applicable for us. Then we need to do SOA.
Correct. Absolutely.
SOA, then
After SOA, you have to start implementing the controls.
okay. SOA full form?
Statement of applicability.
Okay. This has to be finally approved by board people. Board people or
So yeah, that again depends on your InfoSec governance. So you can have a InfoSec steering committee, you can get approval from CISO, right? So based on the InfoSec governance that you have in the organization, the approval can be taken.
Okay, thank you very much.
No issues.
Niranjan, I have one more question,
Yes,
which
Pratik.
is related with asset inventory.
Mm-hmm.
So asset inventory is a mandatory document, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
So in asset inventory, the control says you should have asset inventory in place, which should include all the end user and end user devices plus software for softwares or hardware devices, all the things. So we need to focus on the critical end user devices or the softwares
All the assets.
cover. Yeah.
All the assets in scope.
Okay.
It can be a laptop, it can be a server, database, it can be your mobile phones if at all your organization is allowing, removable media, your policies, procedures, any physical records, any
if
type of an asset that
okay.
can be compromised on CIA, confidentiality, integrity, availability. Those
If
assets.
if customer says like, Pratik, we do have a lot of list we need to mention in that tracker. So is it okay if we can provide you the high or critical list here? So what will I do in that case?
No, but
Do I need
the other assets are getting I mean they are not addressed, right? What is the
Yes.
what is the objective of documenting an asset inventory? So that you as an organization will clearly are clearly having a picture as to what are your assets, who is managing these assets, who is the owner for these assets, what is the valuation for the asset in terms of CIA, how sensitive or critical this asset is. So if at all, if you are not documenting as part of your inventory, then how will you track that asset?
Okay. Yes.
Irrespective of the criticality, you have to document it as part of asset inventory.
Okay. Got it. Second question is related with the gap assessment. You just mentioned that we need to perform a risk assessment, and with the help of that risk assessment, we can go with, for the statement of applicability documentation part, and we can analyze what all the controls are applicable and not applicable with the required justification. Correct? So I mean, instead of this, can we do in the other way to find out the applicable controls? Like we can perform the gap assessment. There we can take the remark. We'll be sitting up to the with the customers and asking if this control is relevant to your organization or not. I mean, we will be going with all the 93
That is not the
controls.
objective of gap assessment. Gap assessment you do to understand where are you currently standing. See, the end goal is ISO compliance. That means
Mhm.
you need to follow all the requirements stated by the ISO standard, right? Now, if
Okay.
at all you want to reach there, you first have to know where are you currently standing, right?
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
is why we do a gap assessment. The name itself
Yes,
says
yes,
what are the gaps in a
yes.
process or in your organization. What are
Mhm.
those gaps? So you do an assessment or you do an audit only, you can think, okay. So if you are getting confused, it is nothing but another assessment or an evaluation that you do to understand what all controls are compliant, what are clauses are compliant and what are non-compliant, what we need to develop newly, what we need to modify, what are the changes that we need to bring upon. That is why you do a gap assessment.
But gap assessment sheet, which I have seen most of the time, I have seen the
Hmm.
gap assessment sheet is having the questions related with all the clauses and related with all the controls.
Yes,
So the customer
absolutely.
is just fulfilling. I mean, the tick out, like if if this is if they are
No,
having this
that's
document
not
in
a
place.
comprehensive gap assessment. See, at the end
Mhm.
of the day, you are hired as a GRC professional. We are the subject matter experts who knows what needs to do or what
Mhm.
are we supposed to do or what are we not supposed to do. So we should be the one who's asking the questions live, understand their process and telling whether it is a gap or it is not a gap against the requirements specified in the standard.
Okay, so at that point of time, if the customer says that this control is not applicable, for example,
So you need
and the
to
control,
understand, you need to ask them the justification. Why it is not
okay,
applicable? Why do you think it is
okay,
not applicable?
okay, they are giving the justification that this is why this control is not applicable. Some justification they have given me. So this will benefit to prepare the statement of applicability. Correct?
Correct. But again, we have to analyze whether it is right or wrong. So you are sitting with the development team, okay?
Mhm.
And they are
Mhm.
telling source code repository or access to source code control is not applicable to me because I don't want to implement access to the source code. I am okay to give access to anybody in the organization. What do you think? Is it an applicable control, not applicable control? I am a Spock, okay? You are doing an assessment of software development,
Mhm.
right? I tell that I don't want to implement access to my source code. I am okay to give access to anybody in the organization. So please make access control not applicable to us. Are you okay with this?
No.
So we need to also assess whatever inputs that the stakeholders are giving because they don't know they don't know ISO, they don't know InfoSec, they don't know anything. They are not subject matter experts. So we need to pitch in our opinion, we need to provide our recommendation and tell them what is right, what is wrong.
Okay. Got it. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
No issues. Yes, guys. Next question.
Hey, Niranjan. Hi, good evening.
Hi,
Thanks for
Sanjay. Good
explaining a
evening.
lot of this. Just one little question.
Yes.
Might be it has a lot of the information. Everyone has their own view, but just I want your expertise.
Sure.
What are the basically the common challenges generally organization faces when they basically start preparing for ISO audit?
You mean to say in the external audit or during the entire implementation phase?
During the entire implementation phase. It's just like fresh the companies maybe startup or
So
they
the
want to
one
get
main common major challenge which is common across all the organizations is buy-in or cooperation from the stakeholders. Because everybody even till date thinks that whatever we do as part of GRC, it's only an overhead for them. We will tell them to have proper access controls, implement MFA, then ensure all the patches are getting deployed, ensure they raise a change request for all the changes that they make, right? We tell them to do all these things. So even till date, even after so many breaches, And now that even people are aware of what is the importance of InfoSec, still
Yeah.
the common challenge is the stakeholders buy-in. That means you will not get cooperation. At the end of the day, you will be the one, the GRC team members are the one running behind each and every team member to asking them to implement things, asking them for evidence, telling them to follow certain things. So that is still there. And second common problem or challenge could be in terms of support from the top management. If at all your there is no support from top management, forget your implementation, because implementing any control again comes with a cost. It needs proper, you need time, right? Then you need again customer, stakeholder support, other team member support, right? So only your top management can help you give all these things. If at all your top management is not supportive, then we'll not be able to do anything. And third, very important issue, again common issue, is awareness. Still, people don't know what is information security. They simply think that it is an overhead. They'll be like, okay, you guys are coming, GRC team is coming, they're giving us more work. So that awareness is still not there. So these are the three common challenges that are present in any organization across the globe.
Absolutely right. Yeah, thank you.
No issues. Yes, Prabhakar, I see you've raised your hands. Please go ahead.
Hello, sorry. Yeah,
Yes,
I have a
Prabhakar.
question. So, I just want to understand, if you want to audit the ODC, which is Offshore Delivery Center. So what can be the clauses or controls that can be applicable from ISO 27001 standpoint, majorly?
Again, my question to you, what is the scope? When you say ODC center, I don't have proper context here. What does this ODC center do?
Secured center.
What does secured center mean? What kind of processes are happening in this center?
Means support the operations. Basically, the support operations takes place.
Are you telling it is a customer support call center?
Support in terms of application support, I would say.
Okay, internal support team sits there.
Yes.
Okay. So you want to, yeah, please continue.
That's a secured way wherein we need to assess the access, who is coming in, who is going out, the entire area itself.
Okay, so if at all it is a support team, right? So your controls, I'm telling what would not be applicable. That is for sure. Your secure development will not be applicable. Okay. Then if at all all the assets, all the servers of that team is on-prem, I'm considering scope only of this team. Okay, not any other scope. If there is nothing on cloud, it is the cloud security will not be applicable.
Okay.
Right. So like this, we need to start and analyze. See, your access controls will be applicable, asset management will be applicable, incident management will be applicable, change management is applicable, patch management is applicable, right? So majority of the controls will still be applicable. There are only specific controls that are process dependent, which are not applicable. And irrespective of the team that you are getting certified, right? Your clauses from 4 till 10 will be applicable, mandatory.
Okay.
All the clauses from 4 till 10 are mandatory.
Okay.
I'm not even telling it is applicable, I'm telling it is mandatory. That means everybody has to follow that.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. And suppose if they ask to audit in terms of like ISO and PCI DSS and SOX.
Okay.
So should we have to pick up the common controls of all this, unique controls for how it should be?
Okay. So for you as a GRC team, For us, again, you'll have to do the audit. You'll have to, so that you get to know what is the current posture, right? So
Yeah.
you can develop something called as a UCF, Unified Control Framework. Because see,
Okay.
access management is present in ISO, in SOC, in PCI also.
Correct.
Patch
Yes.
management is also there. Incident management is also there. However, the difference is your ISO does not mandate when it comes to access. It does not mandate how often your access reviews has to be done. What is the minimum length of password?
Okay.
Right. However, PCI DSS mandates it. So if you want
Right.
to achieve compliance to PCI, you have to ensure you have at least 14 characters of password. So in your
Okay.
UCF, you now you're picking access password length as control from 3 standards, making it one control. So
Right.
if at all you have 14 character password, you are compliant with all 3 standards.
Okay. Okay. Got
So
it.
like that, you can develop a UCF.
UCF.
This will
Okay.
help you also and the stakeholders also. They
Okay.
also
Okay.
know, okay, if I follow this 15 points, I am compliant. They also be
Okay.
relieved and your job will also become easier.
Okay. Okay. And should we have to mention that in a column or something? These controls is
You can mention, yes.
comprising
You
of
can give a
both
reference.
all.
See, password length 14 characters you can mention. And you can give ISO control number A dot so and so, SOC control principal so and so, PCI control 8.7 dot something like that. You can give a reference.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Thank you.
No issues. Cool. Next.
Hi Niranjan, I asked one question, Niranjan.
Yes, Narasimhan. Please go ahead.
Actually, I just want to understand, this auditor and implementer will have separate exams, or is that the same exam? And what is the examination body, Niranjan?
Okay, so you are asking ISO 27001 lead implementer and lead auditor?
Yes. Right.
Yes, lead implementer and lead auditor are 2 different exams. However, the industry expects the GRC professionals to have practical implementation and auditing knowledge and lead auditor certification. Lead implementer certification is not commonly asked. So it is not a mandatory requirement. So I would personally suggest simply don't spend money on lead implementer, lead auditor both. Instead, you can focus on lead auditor certification, but there is no compromise on the skill set. Both implementation and auditing skill set is mandatory.
Okay, thanks. And what is the examination body we are going to write?
So there are 2 examination bodies, CQI IRCA and Exemplar Global. These are the 2 certification bodies. Okay. So CQI IRCA is very expensive. Exemplar Global is on an affordable note, right? So that is why we have partnered with Exemplar Global. So for all of my students, I personally recommend them for Exemplar Global only. Until and unless it is a mandatory requirement, I don't suggest anybody to shell out 40,000, 45,000 for lead auditor certification, where you can finish that in less than 13,000 in Exemplar Global. So that's why I personally recommend all of my students for Exemplar Global only.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, sir.
No issues.
Hi, Niranjan. Hello.
Okay, one at a time. Okay, Bindu, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Niranjan. I have one doubt regarding BCP and DR.
Okay.
Could you provide us some examples of how to ensure BCP and DR in various areas of an organization? Especially, I am interested in understanding best practices for implementing BCP and DR across the different functionalities.
Okay, firstly, you need to understand the basic difference between what is business continuity and what is disaster recovery. Business continuity is nothing but ensuring your processes are still continuing in an event of a disaster or an incident. Irrespective of what is happening, we want to ensure that the minimum set of processes are continuing to run. Then disaster recovery is nothing but, okay, you'll in case of a disaster or in case of a huge data breach or an incident, will not be able to run with the full-fledged infra, right? Now, multiple assets might be down due to an incident or something. So disaster recovery, as the name suggests, recovering back from a disaster, ensuring you are going back to the previous normal working condition. That is disaster recovery. So both BCP and DR are major part of your availability principle. So for ensuring you have a proper BCP-DR process in place, we have to ensure that our assets or infrastructure and processes is resilient. That is, even if one of my system is down, I need to have a capability that there is secondary systems running, so that even if my primary system is down, my process is not affected because I still have other two systems. But how do you actually decide? Do you need actually a secondary system, live system, or is it okay if you can work with only primary system? So how do we know that? The backbone of your BCPDR is business impact analysis, as I was explaining. So we need to understand, sit with the stakeholders and understand what will be the impact to me as an organization if at all a particular asset is not working, if at all it is down. According to the impact, then we'll ask them, okay, consider an asset is down. What is the maximum amount of downtime that you are okay to withstand? That is nothing but your RTO. So if at all the stakeholder states, okay, I'm okay with the downtime of only 1 hour, then we will decide the RTO to be at least 45 to 50 minutes. So we still have a 10 minutes grace period. So we have to ensure that our infrastructure is so resilient that if at all now the asset is down, within 45 to 50 minutes, it is up and back running. Then we also ask them, okay, the asset is down. What is the amount of data that you are ready to lose? They are telling, okay, data is not that important. I can have a data loss of up to 1 week. So from this, you got RPO as 1 week, right? Now, this is how you decide your backups. For that particular asset, you take a weekly backup because the stakeholder only agreed that he is okay to lose data of 1 week. So that is how you decide your RTO and RPO. I always give two examples. One is your net banking application. You're doing a BCPDR for a bank. Your net banking or a mobile banking application is one. Then the internal HRMS portal is the other application. So first you sit with the net banking application team and you ask them, okay, I'm doing a BIA. What is the RTO or what is the amount of downtime that you are okay to agree? They will tell 0 seconds. I don't want my application to be down even for a single second also. Here, the RTO is 0 minutes. That means, irrespective of what is happening, we have to ensure that the application is still running. So what we can do, we can have a multiple mirrored configuration, right? We have to ensure all of the instances are working together. Even if one instance is down, we still have other instance which will be able to cater to the traffic. Then RPO, again, we will ask them, they'll tell, okay, no, again, I don't want to lose even a single second of data. Again, you have multiple databases with mirrored configuration. All are running at the same time with parallel, with parallel sync of data. So even if one database is down, we have other databases to backup. So when it comes to the HRMS application, they will tell, okay, it is not a very critical. It is attendance and other leave tracking. I am okay to have downtime of 1 week. So here we need not have any secondary instance for this. You can have only one instance and you can have a backup based on the data loss that they are agreeing, right? Accordingly, as soon as you get to know the asset is down or the application is down, you can start your DR process and you can recover the asset based on the time frame that is set. So the more stringent your RTO, RPO, the more aggressive your controls needs to be.
Okay, thank you so much, Niranjan.
No issues, no issues. Kushwinder, yes, please go ahead.
Hi Niranjan.
Hi.
Actually, I needed help regarding. I have got a like job responsibility of implementing business continuity in my organization. So my organization have support functions like HR, IT, and another fields, and there are revenue generators, right? So,
Okay.
as per my understanding, I would like to understand how we do the business impact analysis of the non-revenue generators, because for revenue generators you still can work on it, but how to do business impact analysis and business continuity for non-revenue generators who are just supporting the main revenue generator or the bigger teams in any kind of back-end support, but not leading from the front end to get revenue. So how can we do the business impact analysis or maybe the business continuity for those functions?
So they might not be the direct revenue generators, but as you mentioned, they are the back-end support team.
Yes, yes.
If at all these teams are not available, definitely your revenue generation teams will get affected, right?
Yes.
Again, the same logic. So this backend support team can be anything, like a backend support. Say they have a ticketing tool. Okay. For example, a Jira or ServiceNow. I'm just giving an example. Okay. So you will have to sit with them and understand what is their actual process firstly. Understand how are they giving support to the other departments. What is the dependency of other teams on this support teams or non-revenue generation teams? What are the applications that these teams are using? What are the assets that are present with this team? And you have to again do a business impact analysis. Here, the impact will be basically concentrated on the revenue generation teams. Say, as I mentioned, they might have a ticketing tool like Jira per se.
Yes.
So, for example, if Jira is down, you have to understand now what will be the impact to the other teams. If at all their Jira is not working, definitely they'll not be able to get any requests. They'll not be able to respond to any requests. They'll not be able to close any requests. That means it's a direct impact to the revenue generation teams. So that's how we have to map it.
Okay, so one more thing, like if we have a one set of questions to understand like whatever, so in that case, do we need to maintain two separate forms for conducting business impact analysis? Like for
No,
one is for the
one.
support.
The objective is
Okay.
same. Simple objective.
Okay.
If your asset, application, or process is down, what is the impact? That's all.
Got it. And if certain thing is not applicable, they can just mention it as not applicable, and but
No
we
impact.
should. Right. But we should go through like one form and one process across the whole.
Absolutely. One methodology to be followed across the organization. There's no
Okay.
two methodologies. That is why the impact also, not every impact is high, not every
Right.
impact is low. We have to develop that matrix. So if at all 10 customers are affected, 10,000 rupees is getting lost, right? If I have a if I have a so-and-so legal implication, etc., you can have multiple parameters. If all of this is happening, it's become a low impact. Say if 50 customers are getting affected, 1 lakh rupee of financial impact, that is a high impact for me. So you can develop this metrics to understand the impact or to categorize the impact. But at the end of the day, it is the RTO and it is the RPO that is very, very important for us.
Got it. Thank you so much.
No issues. Joshua, I see that you have raised your hand. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I thank you for this session.
Thank
And
you so much.
I just want to bring it like what's the difference? Like we have seen a lot of ISO 27001 lead auditor courses, as you mentioned, like from Exemplar and like CQI, like right. And also we see a lot of courses in Udemy and a lot of online courses also. So how far it is valid when it comes to even the career perspective? So which is more valid, or is there anything we have to consider on that?
See, irrespective of the course, the main objective should be to develop the skill set that the industry is asking. So what is the industry asking? Three things. First is practical understanding on implementing and auditing of your ISO 27001 standard requirements, right? Secondly, ability to perform risk assessment. Thirdly, your lead auditor certification. And to be frank, none of the courses that are available outside in the market is capable enough of, or they are not catering to this. Because at the end of the day, all of them are only focusing on getting you guys a certificate. That's all. That is lead auditor certificate. So the trainer also is not from GRC background. They'll teach whatever they have in the as part of their course content. They'll have a classes from morning 10 to 6, morning 10 a.m. to evening 6 p.m. 5 days you have the class. 6th day you will write the exam. Nobody will understand anything. It will be very, 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 very theoretical only. I have some of my students also here. So that is why we from Ministry of Security, we started this ISO training, practical training only. So as to ensure that we are helping the students with practical skill set that the industry is asking. So
Understood.
so I am the I am the trainer who will be teaching ISO. So I basically take this practical implementation auditing training of ISO. So I explain with the help of real life examples and real life implementation documents. So I first simplify the requirement, explain what is the standard asking us to do, and I'll not stop there. I'll also showcase real life implementation documents, and I'll explain what is that we are actually doing in real life in order to achieve compliance. And that's where you develop practical understanding.
So Niranjan, when are you starting this?
So my next batch is starting from 28th of September.
Oh, and what will be timings usually?
So the classes will be only on weekends, Saturday and Sunday, morning 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. IST. So we'll have in total 36 hours of live online classes on Zoom.
Yeah, so can you just share the link to register?
Sure, definitely. Let me ping you the link.
And Niranjan, if you can send the same link to me also.
I'll drop it in the chat so that you guys can fill the form. Right. Give me a moment.
I need to refer someone, so that's why.
Sure, definitely. I will share the link here. Just give me a moment. I'm searching for that link.
Thank you. This is Bhargav.
Bhargav, just give me a moment. I'm really sorry.
Sure.
Just give me a moment. So I have dropped the registration link on the chat. So all of you can use this link and show your interest. So probably Kushi from my team, she will reach out to you all.
Niranjan, I am looking for CISA.
Sorry,
CISA
Bindu?
training. I am looking for CISA training.
CISA training also we provide. You can fill the same form.
Same form. Okay.
Yes, you can fill the same form. She will help you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No issues. Yes, Bhargav.
Yeah, do we need any minimum of professional experience in cybersecurity if we want to pursue LA or LI certification?
No, there is no minimum experience needed for LA or LI.
Like any other domain, like if someone is from BA or like SOC,
Not
want
needed.
to
For
switch.
lead auditor, lead implementer, not needed. Even for my training, it is not needed because I will start everything from the scratch, basics only I will teach.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
No
Thank you,
issues.
Dr.
Niranjan, 42,001 also you're starting?
42,000, yes, we have a batch. We recently started a batch. We have also started 42,001, yes.
Can we get into that, or is it really the syllabus already been covered more?
The recent batch has already started. So you can, we are launching a new batch soon. So again, you can fill the same form and we'll definitely reach out to you. And if at all you guys don't want to fill any form, I will share the direct WhatsApp chat link for me. You guys can directly DM me. I'll help you with any of your queries. So I've also, let me share my WhatsApp link. So you can just click on this link. You'll be able to chat with me, right? So whatever queries you might have, it might need not be only for training. Even if you have any query in terms of any of your career, or if you are stuck in any of the audit, or if you want any guidance, mentoring, anything, I'm always open to help InfoSec professionals. You can always reach out to me on the WhatsApp number that I've shared. Any other questions, guys? I know we have reached 10 minutes over, but however, I'm still okay to take questions. If at all you guys have any questions, please ask me.
Niranjan, just one question.
Sure.
Do we have do we have multi-factor authentication related controls there in annexure?
Yes,
27,001?
secure authentication is the control.
Okay, and if I would like to collect some data center related controls, so where I can see those controls, I can see some of them which is there in physical control.
So
and
I'll get the answer from you only. So it is a on-prem data center, right?
Correct.
So now can you tell me what all will be applicable? What process will be applicable? You can tell me. Start naming.
I do not have any idea, because I have tested only the environmental related controls there in data center.
I'll tell you. Very simple. You need not worry much. See, in data center, you have assets. You have to manage them. End-to-end asset management is applicable.
Correct.
Assets, you need to again access. Access management will be applicable. You'll be deploying patches. Patch management is applicable. Your data center will have servers, databases, network devices. So you'll have to harden them, right? So secure configuration will be applicable, right? Your password policies will be applicable. You can't leave your servers as is. You have to deploy one or the other malware solution. So anti-malware control will be applicable. Again, it is a data center, very critical. So we have to have a proper BCPDR in place. Business continuity is applicable. Then we should also be prepared to handle any kind of an incidents. What if there is a malware attack or a DDoS attack? So your entire incident management is applicable. Physical security is obviously applicable. Then you would be storing sensitive data in the database. So encryption is applicable. Your data center has to talk to, the users should be able to connect to the data center assets, right? Network security is applicable. Very simple. You just understand what is the data center, what is the functionality of a particular process or a team. See, I did not do anything. I just did a basic run through, and all these I got like more than 15 domains of controls. Very simple. And your data center, there'll be multiple vendors, right? So your vendor management is applicable there. Vendor risk management. GRC is very, very, very simple.
Okay, so data center, suppose data center is having their own audit performed and they are having an audit report. So do we need to rely that report, and do we need to test again data center related controls as per ISO 27001, or
So
we
you
can
are
go and
asking
rely?
for managed data center, right? For example, NetMagic, entity data center, like those kind of
Yes.
a data centers you're asking?
Yes.
So once again, we need to understand what is the shared responsibility. What is the data center responsible to do, and what are we as an organization are responsible to do. So definitely your physical security is complete responsibility of your data center only. So end-to-end physical security controls are managed by them. But there are data centers, this NetMagic and entity only, apart from providing just the cage, they will also manage the assets. They will only provide their own servers. They will only ensure managing patching, ensuring that your incidents are taken care, ensuring that changes, they are only doing everything. They will only have admin privilege. So once again, it completely depends on the shared responsibility. What is the data center responsible to do, and what we as an organization are responsible to do. Accordingly, the controls will be applicable to us, which we need to implement. The rest of the controls that the data center is responsible, we can make use of their ISO, their SOC, their PCI certificates, and ensure, and we'll get a confidence that all of that is proper.
Okay.
Because
Thanks.
they don't allow us to audit. They'll have thousands of customers. If they start allowing to audit, every minute there'll be hundreds of requests to them. So that's why we have to rely on their existing certifications.
Correct. Okay.
Thanks. Ranjan, one more doubt. Okay.
Yes.
Before the audit, okay, team will come. Okay, our internal audit team has to submit their findings, isn't it?
Okay.
They conducted the internal audit or not, they need to submit the report to the external audit. Then only they will start it, isn't it, or what? Is it?
Okay, can you please repeat? Can you please repeat?
Tomorrow, external audit is going to come for findings, for observations. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That done. Before they will start, they will ask. They will talk to internal audit team whether they have done an internal audit or not. Based on the document, they will start the external audit.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Without internal audit confirmation, they won't start. Even if conduct the internal audit.
Internal audit should be completed. Yes.
Okay. Fine. Thank you.
No issues.
Niranjan, there are two controls which has been excluded from the current version. So I have read somewhere, but I don't remember those controls. So if you
there
know,
are
if you can let me know,
controls
please.
that have been deleted, that have been merged also.
Yes.
But that does not mean that there is lack of controls here in Annexure A now. Nope. All the controls that are present, that were present earlier, are still present in one or the other form in the existing 93 controls. So majorly what they have done is they have clubbed multiple controls as one single control.
Okay. So have they also changed the sequence of the clause number 10?
Sequence of clause number is not changed. There is no major changes in the clauses. Major changes is on the Annexure A control only.
Okay. Okay.
Any other doubts, guys?
Niranjan, I have a query. What is TUB SUD? They are basically lead auditor. They provide certificates.
Again, TUV SUD is another training company. But at the end of the day, you will be getting a certificate either from CQI IRCA or Exemplar Global only.
Okay.
So we have if at all you want LA certificate, you have to ensure the training company is either affiliated to either of them. If they are telling we give certificate on our own, that is not globally valid. Don't fall for that trap. It is not valid. You will simply end up wasting money. It should be either Exemplar Global or CQI IRCA.
So Niranjan, the 28th, you are going to start your new batch.
Yes.
So is it for internal auditor or the implement? I mean the lead auditor or the lead implementer?
So mine will cover both implementation as well as audit. So as I mentioned, I mainly focus on developing the practical understanding. If you have the practical understanding on a particular control, you can use it for both implementation and audit. So if you know what is the standard asking us to do for a particular requirement and what are we doing in real life, what are we supposed to do? This knowledge, you can use it for implementation if at all you have given a responsibility to implement, right?
Okay,
so that you can convey the same to the stakeholders and get things implemented. The same knowledge you can use to audit the existing implemented controls.
Okay, so you also provide the certification?
Yes, from Ministry of Security, we do provide certificate of this GRC course, and we also help you with lead auditor certification also.
Great.
We definitely do that.
Okay. Oh, and one more question I have just came in my mind. Suppose if there is a new customer, I mean, I've been assigned a new customer, and the new customer is aiming for the certification, ISO certification 27001. So what will be the duration I can have from them? I mean, this much time I would need to complete your overall process, starting to the end. So is it for 6 months? I need to take time from them
for lead auditor exam, is it?
No, not for exam. For preparing them to get
implementation.
the certification.
Okay, yeah. I'll tell you. See, scoping we will do in less than 1 week. Gap assessment we'll do in less than 1 week or at max 2 weeks. Risk assessment also will be completed. Now starts the actual part of implementing the control and treating the risk. So this completely depends on how supportive is your internal stakeholders. How are you getting proper support from your top management? If the entire life cycle of your or entire journey of ISO, the major chunk of time goes in the implementation only. Once you implement, again you start the audit. In less than 1 week, audit is finished. Then 1 week from that, you will have your external audit also. So our job is very, very, very less time consuming compared to the actual implementation and closing the gaps. So typically in any organization, approximately 5 to 6 months is needed. Somewhere between, 4 to 6 months is absolutely needed. But I am not telling it is not possible to do it in 1 month. No, definitely possible. I myself have completed the end-to-end implementation in less than 3 weeks for multiple organizations. As I informed, it completely depends on the stakeholders, internal stakeholders.
Yeah, even I just have completed for one of my clients for 2 months.
Yeah, see, you already know it.
Yeah, one thing I mean what I'm thinking of to perform a risk assessment. There are many challenges. I mean, customer is having their own risk assessment, technical risk they have.
Okay. Pratik, your voice is breaking.
Sorry, having. Yeah, is it okay now? Yeah.
Yeah, better.
So the customer is having a risk assessment already in place.
Sure.
The asset-based risk assessment they have. they have service-based risk assessment in place. So then after, still do we need to perform a risk assessment to get all the SOA
If
related
at all you've
controls?
already performed, why do you have to perform once again? Not needed.
But they have not been gone with all the
Then we have
controls.
to do it. See, at the end of the day, the risk is dynamic. Threat landscape keeps on changing. Your vulnerabilities keep on changing, right? So your entire risk register and risk treatment register is always dynamic. It is not like your policy or SOP that will remain constant for a longer period of time. Nope. So risk assessment and risk treatment registers, and especially the risks in the organization, are very dynamic. So absolutely you will have to do it.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for taking part in this session. I hope it was an insightful session. Definitely, it was very insightful for me to answer all of your doubts. So, right, as I mentioned, if at all you have any doubts, please reach out to me on WhatsApp. I've dropped my WhatsApp link, right? And you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll always be available, right? So thank you so much. If at all you want any mentoring, any training, any guidance, please reach out to us. We'll definitely help you. Thank you so much for being an active participants.
Thanks.
Thank you, Niranjan.
Thank you for sharing a lot of the good information, Niranjan. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Sanjay. It really means a lot.
Thank you, Niranjan. Thank you. Great session.
Thanks, Niranjan.
Thank you, Piyush. Thank you, Magdum.
Thanks, Niranjan.
Thank you, Prateek.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice day. Happy weekend. Bye-bye.